you're here. I don't see any new casts or races or any harm. Every day is going to try to start with something like this. I'm going to give you an example of a current event. So I have a current event about Zoom. I think this was just yesterday. There was a problem with Zoom in the morning where all Zoom users, their calls dropped and they couldn't get any calls going through. It turns out that Zoom had deployed an update to their servers that busted everybody, and so they rapidly went to town and hurriedly fixed the problem and deployed an update. But that's 2 or 3 hours, and nobody can use Zoom during that time. And for schools that were using Zoom for broadcasting a class or something like that, they were out of luck for that period of time. Zoom is all about software. Zoom uses your microphone, Zoom uses your webcam, but Zoom is all about software that runs on your computer, that talks to the Zoom servers, that broadcasts it out to everybody that's signed up or connected to that same presentation or session. You too could make a mistake like Zoom did somewhere in your career. This is a simple example of a current event. It literally is about that long. You too can do a current event. Now you might be asking, how do I do a current event? Well, you would go to the class website. At the very top, there's a big, huge button, Submit Current Event Proposal. Takes you to a Google form. You're going to put in your email address. Spell it correctly, please. And this is the email address you want to receive an email back from me on. So it doesn't have to be your Alpine email. And because I don't always know who, spunkydog@gmail.com is, you might need to tell me your name. And then it says, I want a link to your current event. So I just grab that and paste it here. And then it says, when was the article published? Well, you can usually see that pretty quick. This one just says a day ago. So I'm going to say August 24th. This is so you can remember that the date must be within the past 2 weeks. How does this article apply to software or programming? Well, Zoom software had a bug that caused outages. How does this article apply to high school students? Many students get their classes through Zoom. And then a brief outline. This just needs to be 1 or 2 lines of how you're going to discuss it and stuff like that. And then you click Submit. I get an email, I take a look at it, and I email you back. And I either say, that was a lousy suggestion. No. I'll say something like, that was great. Plan on presenting Thursday morning. Or, it was more than 2 weeks old. Or whatever the problem is. I'll email you back so you can know, and then you can resubmit if you'd like. Know that all current event proposals need to go through this Google form by clicking this button on the class webpage. Some people will just email me a link. So they'll say in the subject line, current event, and then they'll just send me a link and nothing else. And it's like, no. I need it to go through that so I can keep track of everybody that's presenting. In that regard, a current event, it's really not that hard. You do one each term, it's worth 50 points. You can do extra current events for extra credit points. Every extra one that you do is an extra 10 extra credit points. The first one's 50 points because that's your assignment. If you want to do one every single class period and drive your classmates nuts, so be it. You'll be racking up the extra credit points throughout the term and the whole semester if you want to. There are a few limitations. You can only do one per day. I don't want you to show up on a given day and say, hey, Mr. Brooks, I just submitted one before I left home. And it's like, sorry, class is just about to go on. It needs to be within the past 2 weeks. It needs to deal with software. So if you send me a current event about the high-tech technology behind the new Nike self-lacing shoes, that's not software. That's a shoe with a little button and a motor in it that laces the shoes. So you'll figure out what software is. Software is anything that's a computer program. Okay. You fill out the form, and you come prepared. It's worth 50 points. Now, a couple limitations or a couple warnings. One warning is that if you wait till the end of the term, there's 26 students enroll in this class. If you wait to the end of the term, you're not going to be able to present. The reason being is I'm not going to have a class period that's just all current events. The maximum number of current events I'll allow is 4 per any class period. And it's first come, first serve. So if your neighbor is just trying to rack up extra credit points and they put in a proposal already and it got approved and you're trying to get in on the last day of the term, sorry, you're out of luck if there's already 4 in there. So don't wait. And guess, you might want some extra credit points. This is the easiest way. How do you find a current event? Google is your friend. You can say, I'm looking for something related to software news. The first few hits are all great. I'll go to Computer World, Tech News. Here's one. Is it end of life for IE11? Maybe not yet. Facebook portal adds Zoom. Oh, that's kind of interesting to me. I take a look first. Right here, you can barely see it. It came out August 20th. That's within the past 2 weeks. I glance over and go, yeah, this looks good. I grab the URL, go to the form, fill it out, send it in. It's as easy as that. There's just search for software news or something like that, and you'll be seeing a lot of things. Now, keep in mind, some websites have stories that are older than 2 weeks out there. You just need to be watching for that. Any questions about current event? It's all quiet. Now the drum roll is who's going to be the first. I'll let you decide who's going to be the first. Okay, bonus question. Create an email addressed to me. Put BQ in the subject line. Gabe, you might be at a disadvantage because you weren't here last time, but you can guess. Doesn't hurt to guess. Everybody ready? Or not? What's the name of the movie we watched a clip from on Thursday last week? First question is the fastest one to answer gets the prize. That's so great. All right. That's so good. I don't have a drink bucket. Samaya. Yes?
Question. When you get a minute, will you help me with this?
You bet. The answer was? Tron. Let me see what it's saying.
It just says, I downloaded it, but then it's like...
Oh, it says you need to restart your computer. So just do a reboot.
Restart?
Yeah. Well, no. Oh, okay.
Oh, wait.
That's probably the hardest way of restarting, but you can restart that way.
Okay.
Usually you go to the little Windows button and say power restart. Okay. All right, Samaya got it. Is Tron. We saw a clip from Tron. Circa 1980-something, 2 or so. Okay, the next one. This is a randomizer. Everybody that submitted last time got it right. That's good. All right, resetting. This one, think about it. If you need to use Google, you're welcome to use Google. What extra drawing did Mr. Brooks add to his house? Draw a house. So we're using the randomizer. That means it's better to type it correctly, get it correct, than be first, because it's going to be randomly selected. Okay. The randomizer is going to choose. Kyle's not here. TJ's not here. Where's TJ? Jacob's not here. Dallin, did you get the right answer? You did. The right answer was I put a little Mickey Mouse in the upper gable. Okay. Easy squeezy. Okay. Last time we worked on Draw a House. There's still a number of you. My badge is just going to drive me nuts knocking against the microphone. There's a number of you that have not passed off Draw a House. That is points on your grade. Once you're ready to pass it off, we're going to move on to the next thing that we're going to be working on in class today. But it's okay, because we'll have some time, hopefully in class. We've got 55 minutes. So if you've got it done and haven't passed it off yet, when we get to the lab time, catch me and you can show it to me while we're doing this next one. It's called Windows Basic Skills. I didn't pick up my copies. I need a volunteer to go to the copy center for me. Anyone? Anyone? Gavin, right? Okay. It's processing. You know where the copy center is? Just tell Ms. Cragen, Mrs. Cragen, that it's the Windows Basic Skills. I can show you what it looks like. I have one. But if you could... Oh, I have... It looks like that. I will drag my feet. You won't miss anything. Okay, we're going to move on. No, okay. Abby, you need to restart your computer?
Yeah.
No, you put it to sleep.
Okay.
And then you brought it back. So you click on this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then say restart.
Okay, thank you.
That's what it's wanting. Okay. While we're waiting for Gavin to get back, if you have Draw House done, raise your hand. I'll come by and we'll pass it off real quick. We're going to take just a second. Did you say you had it done, or are you stuck?
I can find mine.
Whoa. Okay. Did you do the paint part? You didn't do the paint part. Oh, you did. Okay, there's where it's at.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a little bit of a pain. Okay. Anybody? Anyone? Todd? Oh. Todd Ivy. Oh, I had record that you passed it off, but I will make sure that it's there. Thank you, Todd. Samaya. You already passed it off. Now you pass it off again.
I passed it off already again. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Remind me your name.
Meredith.
Meredith. Sorry.
Oh,
Yes, it should.
Okay.
It shows that you passed it off,
Okay.
and you should have gotten a ticket, a green
I
ticket.
have one, but
Okay.
You did tell me I had to do it that side.
Okay. Anybody else have Draw a House done that you need to pass off? Let's talk about green tickets for a second. Along the way, you get green tickets for extra credit kinds of things. The green tickets are either worth 10 extra credit points, or you can put them in the box for an extra opportunity at winning prizes. If you're really confident about your grade and you don't need extra credit points, you could put your name on it and put it in the box, or you could give it to your friend and hand them 10 extra credit points. Every time you turn in an assignment, today will be one of those. When you turn in the assignment for Windows Basic Skills, you have an opportunity to mention a friend or a neighbor or somebody in that email. When you turn it in, you can say, hey, here's my Windows Basic Skills assignment. Oh, and by the way, John helped me. And John will get an extra credit point, or extra credit green ticket to choose to do with what they would like to do. Okay? All right. Gavin should be here any second. I'm going to move forward. This first Windows Basic Skills assignment is really, for some, is going to be very, very easy. For some, it might be a little bit difficult. You're going to learn about how to get around inside Windows and manipulate a few things. I need to get an example up here. Okay. So Windows organizes its files into a drive and folders on a drive. Putting in a USB memory stick, flash drive, thumb drive is a drive. It acts like a drive. It shows up as a drive letter. Oftentimes it's D or E or something like that. The file that's on a drive is a collection of bits, zeros and ones that we saw in the Tron video, all collected together in groups of bytes that are 8 bits together that make up whatever the content is. If it's a text document, it makes up the letters. If it's a computer program, it makes up the computer code. If it's a graphic file like a JPEG or a PNG, it makes up the pixels that lay out the picture. The file is a collection of those bits treated as a single unit that you can use to copy and move and email and do all sorts of edit and manipulate them. Files are always stored in some kind of storage media. A hard drive, a thumb drive, a disk, a CD. They used to have floppy disks in these things that were little 3.5 inch or 5 1/4 or 8 inch floppy disks. You group a bunch of files together in a folder. A folder is definitely made up of a metaphor of a file folder. It looks like a file folder. And inside are different sheets of paper or files that comprise the group of files that are in that folder. Folders can also contain folders. So you can have this hierarchy of folders within folders. Thank you. You know how to use Windows already, right? Okay, good. That's what we're talking about, files and folders. And excellent. If I had a remote control, I would be pressing the button. Every file has a path that identifies that kind of unique address of the file. Thank you so much. It typically starts with the drive letter, and then with the slash, and then different folders. Everybody knows this kind of stuff, whether you're on Mac or on Windows. A lot of similar concepts. Hey, you got Visual Studio running. So you have the different components. This is a folder, 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 folder. Then the file, and the file has a name and an extension. What's .docx? What program would run if you double-clicked on a .docx? Microsoft Word. .txt usually would open Notepad. .png or .jpg or jpeg would open a graphics program, either to edit it or just view it. So the file extension controls, tells you a little bit about the file. You're not required to use the file extension, but it sure makes things a lot easier if you do. The file type or the extension usually tells you what the type of the file is. Windows normally hides the extension of a file from you and puts a nice cute little icon there to kind of indicate to you what is that file. In this class, you're going to need to see the file extension. So all of you need to do this. Open it's called Windows Explorer. It's a strange name. You're going to open Windows Explorer. It's going to look something like this. This is all these controls are ribbon up here. You can go to a place where there are files or not. But you can see here in my example, I have two files that are both named set password. How is that possible? You can't have the same name twice in a single folder. This is where file extensions start getting a little bit confusing as to what's being shown. You got main window here, you got main window.xaml.cs, app.xaml.cs, app config, and then a few folders. For this Windows Basic Skills assignment, you're going to need to show file extensions because you're going to be editing file extensions. And if you don't follow these instructions, you're going to crash and burn on trying to get this assignment done. You'll have to raise your hand or get your neighbor to come over and fix it for you. So to show the file extensions, with this open, you're going to click on the View tab that's right here. So up here, there's Home, Share, View. You're going to select the View tab. And then once you get to the View tab, you're going to look for this thing that says File Name Extensions. You're going to click that checkbox, turn it on. All of a sudden, now we see I have setpassword.csproj and setpassword.sln. It clarifies the difference of the different file names, showing the file extensions. And you'll see the file extensions when you're in the details view. I'm in the details view. I'm almost always in the details view. You might be in the tiles view or something else. I usually just hang out in the details view. That's personal preference. It's not required, but you do need to have the file name extensions showing, or you're going to be seriously struggle. Okay? Anybody have a hiccup on that? Did you get that, Alicia? So go ahead and click on the yellow folder down there. And go to View. You just click once and File Name Extensions. That one. That's it. You're done. It's really quick and straightforward. File name.
Okay.
Yep, that one right there. Okay. Anybody else? All right. With files in Windows Explorer, or pardon me, it's the File Explorer. It's not Windows Explorer, File Explorer. You can copy files, you can move files, you can rename files, you can delete files. Anybody want a demonstration on how to do any of one of those? I'm happy to do so. I'm going to show, no one raised their hand. I think you're all just too. So I'm going to, on my desktop, I have a thing called Set Password out here. I'm going to make a copy of it. I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to say Copy. And then in the open space, I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to say Paste. So that's made a copy of Set Password. Notice how it says Set Password Copy. Now with Set Password Copy, I'm going to go in there, and I can copy a file. I just copied a whole folder. An easy way of copying a file is right-clicking on the file, saying Copy. That doesn't make a copy of it yet. That just simply puts kind of a bookmark in Windows memory saying, you're starting a two-step process. You've identified this is the file you want to copy. Now you need to tell me where you want to put it. And I'm going to go down into the bin folder. In the white space, I'm going to right-click and I'm going to say Paste. Paste says, there was something I remembered from before. I'm going to copy it here. So I made a copy of Windows.xaml, X-A-M-L. If I want to delete that file, I can select it, and I can right-click and say Delete, or I can hit the Delete key on my keyboard, and it puts it in the trash can or in the If I want to rename something, I right-click on it and say Rename, and I can say Debugger instead of Debug. Finally, if I want to make a shortcut to something, let's say I have this set password.exe. exe means it's an executable. This is your program. I can right-click on that, and I want to make a shortcut to set password. And I can say Shortcut. You see that option way down here? Making a shortcut simply tells Windows, create me a little file that's just simply saying, there's this item over here. And so here's this set password shortcut. Now if I double click on set password, it's going to run this program. It does nothing. Or if I double click on the shortcut, it does the exact same thing because it's a shortcut to setpassword.exe. Now that I have the shortcut created, I can dragging something. Right now it says it's going to move. So that's going to do a cut paste in one operation. Cut means, so if I'm doing cut and paste, I can right-click and say cut. That means this item is a candidate for being moved to somewhere else. And I can come out to the space out here, and I can say paste, and it just took it from inside my window and put it on my desktop. I can drag it and just put it where I want. Drag and drop is the same as cut, paste. Or there's certain different things you can do with drag and drop where you can override its default behavior, which we're not going to go into. So a shortcut is just simply a bookmark to Windows that says, oh, it's over here. Even though it's sitting here, when I double click it, it's going to go do that thing over there. Shortcuts, it's a link to a file that lives elsewhere. All of these slides are available on the class website if you'd like to read through them later or print it out and have me sign a copy. I'd be happy to. No. Zipping files. So along the way of this assignment is going to say you need to zip the contents of this folder and email it to me. That's in the assignment. So I'm going to come up here, and it says, I want you to zip the contents of this folder and all subfolders and email it to me. So with the folder open, nice and big, I just kind of did a stretchy drag and I clicked in the empty space and just dragged, make a little stretchy band to highlight a bunch of files at once. And I want to put all of these files and folders, because these folders are selected, into a zip folder or a zip file. So I right-click and I say Send to Compressed Zipped Folder. Okay? You will have other options in this little list that say things like WinRAR goo stuff. Don't use WinRAR. Stay away from WinRAR. But you're going to say Compressed Zip Folder. And it says, okay, great. I created it. I've named it some default name, and I'm going to say send to Mr. Brooks, or whatever you want to name it. That is now a zip file that I can email or move around. I'm going to put it on my desktop for a second up here. Now, it's expressly saying that you're supposed to not include the bin and OBJ folders. Otherwise, you will not be able to email it. Let's take a look at what it looks like when you try to email it. If I created an email to myself, I'm going to say assignment 1, whatever. And I'm going to take this down a little bit. So this is the file I want to send to Mr. Brooks. I can, if I have them both open in a view that I can see, I can drag and drop it here if I want. Or on the file, there's this little paper clip. I mean, on the email, there's this paper clip. I can go to my desktop, and I can select send to mrbrooks.zip. And I say open. And it says, OK, I'm attaching it. And it says there were errors blocked for security reasons. I guarantee you, some of you aren't going to get this right the first time. That's OK. It's repairable. It's blocked for security reasons because I included the bin and OBJ folders. Long ago in a land far away before you were born, when people would email each other, they would send them a program. And the program would be a virus or something that would destroy their computer. That's how viruses got around initially. It's just by emailing people, and people would go, oh, I'm going to open this. And so all email programs have made it disallowable to email an executable or a program to somebody. And so I've got to fix my zip file. Now on your computers, you want to say open with Windows Explorer. If you double click on it, it's going to open WinRAR, and you're going to kind of get a little bit lost. Don't use WinRAR. But you're going to right click on it, say open with Windows Explorer. In Windows Explorer, hey, here's my zip file. And I want to get rid of the bin and OBJ folders, so I'm going to multi-select those. I'm going to press the delete key, get rid of them. That's taken them out of my zip file. I'll close this now, and now I can take the zip file, drag it, put it on my email, and now it's happily attached. It doesn't give any security warnings, and I'm ready to send it. There are instructions on the website on how to do this in slow motion. Let's see, where were we? Okay. Now, in the assignment here, you're going to go to the class website, and it's going to say download this file, windowsbasicskills.zip. So I'm saying download windowsbasicskills.zip. I'm going to put it on my desktop. So I've downloaded, put it on my desktop, and I have Windows Basic Skills. Oh, that's really busy now. This guy right here, Windows Basic Skills zip. And then it's going to say you want to extract it. To uncompress it, you right-click on it, and you say extract all. Extract all is going to say, hey, we're going to extract it all to this folder called Windows Basic Skills. Is that okay? You bet. You'll want to do this. The assignment probably says put it in your documents folder. You can if you want. Just put it on your desktop. It's really easy on your desktop. I'm going to say extract. It's going to go through this. There's 300 or so items in there. It's going to extract them and put them on your desktop. And it's going to open it up. So on my desktop is this Windows Basic Skills folder. Now I can go to town on following through the steps of the assignment. You know how to edit a text file? If it says, hey, you need to create a text file over in this folder, let's say we want to create a text file down here in the Fun folder. I right-click in the open space and I say New text document, and I'm going to call it new doc.txt, and then I can just double-click on it or hit Enter, and it opens up the empty, and I can start typing the text that it's telling me to type. All right. Okay. You have the assignment in hand. You should have all the tools that you need. If you get stuck, ask a neighbor. If your neighbor can't help, raise your hand. I'll come and help. Perfect. Sir. Let me stop the recording. Microphone off.